be much.
So basically, yeah, high roller, normal stars and Pulse are playing right now. Loser of that plays winner of this, and whoever wins that moves on. But we do have this match still to go over first before we even consider thinking about the last game in the group. Picks and bans are going out. HRG going to be on blue side, first ban, first pick. Syndra, MF, and Blitzcrank are banned out. I'm pretty sure High Roller's got some intel on that Syndra, how it can be quite a bit of a bother to have that much burst damage, given that to eHamda.
Yeah, eHamda was really strong on Syndra in the last game, so they do ban that out. Blitzcrank being banned, like you said, and we'll kind of see what happens here. Nunu, so some of those stronger supports, some standard stuff being banned, but the AoE champions, Amumu, Malphite, that kind of stuff, being left open. So we'll kind of see if people tend to pick them up.
Yeah, and usually
Thresh is still open.
Thresh is still open.
Yeah.
Mumu's still open. Lee Sin, still a bit of a problem. Even a lot of pro play, actually. Pro play, we've been seeing a lot of Kale, even, too. Actually does quite a bit, both in mid and even in the jungle, of all places. I haven't seen Kale jungle in forever.
Yeah, Kale's really strong right now. She has a lot of great utility in her fight against burst champions. You just ult, no big deal. She has great sustained damage, a lot of things. Kha'Zix being banned, Evelynn being banned, both troublesome champions.
Oh, yeah.
Kha'Zix, really almost very few counters to Kha'Zix. He's just incredibly strong. Alex Ishi's been playing a lot mid, a lot of people have been. And Shen being the first pickup, so definitely a really strong champion there. I would expect to be in the top lane, but it could also be a jungle.
Yep, we have been seeing them both. There was a period of time in the past year where you would see Shen exclusively in the jungle. And then with that, with some passing, there was a time where you see him exclusively in top lane. And now it's kind of back into that transitional phase. Sometimes you see him. You just never know where he's going to end up until the entire team comp is fleshed out.
Yeah, so we'll see where they go. Ezreal being picked up. I would expect the Lee Sin to be picked up as well, or Lulu. Going with Elise. And Elise was actually banned in the previous match. So Harishan was really strong in that top lane. He got off a lot of aggressive harass against Zig, and then later on wasn't necessarily able to carry. But we'll kind of see. This could be a support Elise or a top Elise. I've seen both, and they're both incredibly strong champions.
Yep, more than likely going to be a top. But
triple teleport.
Oh, wow. Ooh. They are high rollers. Hey, if you're going to be high rollers, go all out. Triple. I don't think actually I've ever seen a triple global ever.
Oh, all the time. It's really. I mean, it used to be a lot more common, but it's just a brutal. You usually don't expect people to get all of those picks. Shen and TF alone are really strong, but having the Nocturne combo with TF. Who knows? They could grab an Ashe as their AD carry. That'd be kind of fun to see.
Oh my god, that would be great.
And it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. If they can get that map presence, that would be really nice. And that's one of the interesting things is Elise. She likes to split lanes. If she is a top lane Elise, her goal is to slow down the game, split the map, and it's not to group up. It's not to group up really quickly. The best way to counter off those globals is to group up early on and force team fights. Elise doesn't do that. So that could potentially open up opportunities where high rollers can pick up kills around the map because they're just not planning on grouping up. But we'll have to see.
I like these two picks from Salabar. Cassiopeia, the upfront ult, the very close range ult, is going to be doing a lot with a team that's very in your face, especially one with 3 globals. And Xin, that ultimate's actually going to be it can perform a lot of functions as a Janna ult can do. You just don't hit anybody. You throw it on the ult, it shoves everybody away. So that can be very useful also.
Yeah, so it's definitely really strong. Xin has a lot of burst damage, assuming he's going in the jungle, but they have some options right here, and he can just snowball really quickly.
Actually, it could also be an Elise jungle.
Yeah, it could be an Elise jungle. I've actually never seen an Elise jungle.
I think Nintendo actually ran it during LCS, I think.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's she's just a strong champion all in all. So, that's really not that surprising for her to go in a number of ways. Draven and Janna being picked up. So the last 2 champions, that gives them a really dominant bot lane. Draven and Janna are a really strong combo. It just allows Draven to get free harass, and he's one of the best in the game at exchanging, and particularly against Ezreal. Ezreal has the range, or has the survivability to dash back, but doesn't have the damage to match with Draven up front. So they can really easily chase people down for those kills.
And that adds a 4th global to the mix, too.
Yes, it does.
It's not quite Ashe. It's not
5 globals because of Janna's passive.
Yeah, all global all the time. But
and that's, I mean, the passive, it's not something to laugh at.
It's not.
They're going to use it. It's Nocturne's mobility. It's TF's mobility.
Actually, no, another, because you have TF's global passive also.
All right. Well, you know, but it's 5 global champions. But they are. I mean, the Janna passive is legitimately something that Salad Bar is going to have to be concerned with. So we'll kind of see where they go at that. Taric being the last pick as that support pick. So that means it is going to be a Syndra or a Elise top. Most likely, it could also be a Syndra or Elise jungle, but it's probably going to be Elise top. So Harishan is on Elise, yeah. So it is Elise top. But Taric, just a really safe lane. He can shut down a lot of aggression, just throw a stun onto Draven, walk away. And so it's not going to be that much of a concern for them. The big concern is going to be how are they going to deal with this global presence. And one of the hopes is that Cassiopeia is going to have an effect on that.
Right.
Because Cassiopeia just has so much damage. She's really strong in 1v2s. She can push the lane up. She can beat TF in lane potentially. But then she can roam down bot. And Cassiopeia likes roaming down bot a lot. And she's not going to get there quite as quickly as TF, but then she can maybe get the turnaround. TF maybe gets a kill. Cassiopeia walks up and gets 3. So that's going to be the hope.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage to be had in a very small area. I mean, just the poison on its own is amazing, and to have that pursuit, and this is a team, HRG, they're not going to be looking to retreat. When they use those ultimates, when they use those globals, they are, as many high rollers are, all in at that point, devoted for that kill. Once you go in, there is no escape. You either go big or you die.
Yeah.
That is it. So they're going to have nowhere to run once this poison becomes an issue in these fights. Same thing with Elise, too. You go in for that hard engage on Elise, just up into the air, nowhere to go.
Yeah, but the concern is Elise is actually not very good at escapes, and that's one of her biggest weaknesses. She can jump in the air in a team fight, and that's really good in a team fight at avoiding some damage, because then you can hop around a little bit, or while you're in the air, the rest of your team can swarm them and threaten them.
Which is the hope.
Isolated in the top lane, that's going to be a serious issue. She can't just jump into her webs and think everything's going to be fine, because she's going to drop right down and die.
It's a very short vacation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they try and pressure. In particular, I'm excited to see what kind of map presence Crime Lord's looking to have. And if he's looking to be extremely aggressive, use that Janna passive in order to sit in the map in the jungle a little bit. He does have to worry. Xin is very strong in that 1v1 situation, actually beats Nocturne early on, but the fear of Nocturne should allow him some flexibility there. So we'll kind of see how that works.
I'm also very interested to see how Crime Lord builds, because you look at the rest of the team. Draven, very squishy dude. Twisted Fate can also be very squishy if caught out. So it's a lot of reliance on Nocturne and Shen to be that front line when full 5-on-5 team fights break out, to protect that back line.
Yeah, and taking a look at some of these champions, this is actually HRG Naya. This is TF, so not running movement speed, I don't think. Yeah, so ability power.
A lot of health.
Yeah, a lot of health. So just a lot of damage, really. So also the auto attacks, so that's going to be pretty nice. Not really that surprising, though. Harishan, I've seen some AD in the past, but usually you expect to see Magic Pen. So yeah, it is Magic Pen, some ability power, and then running 21, 9, and 0. So that's going to be interesting in the top lane. Generally speaking, Elise is a dominant top lane, but Shen is strong enough that, or is tanky enough that you would think he's going to be able to survive a little bit through some of that damage.
Right. Also looking at Taric this time around, because we saw the Lulu in the first game Salad Bar played against Pulse, and Lulu had the heal flash. This time, Taric going for a little more standard with those summoners, going for the exhaust flash this time around, which is the more common pick on supports these days.
Yeah, so the heal didn't quite work out for them in the first game. They were really using that to help Ezreal, and so he could start off with that Doran's and be extremely aggressive. But then instead of using any health pots or healing from the support, have the heal and then the barrier to help him out. Taric does have the heal, so they could potentially still go with the Doran's. Let me check real quick if Ezreal happens to be running Vamps or Lifesteal. He isn't. So just physical damage. 15 at that, so a lot of physical damage, but running 21, 6, and 3, so a little bit of mana regen, so you can spam those Qs a little bit.
So should we expect another Doran's Blade opener from Ezreal this time around, or was that be Or would that be way too risky at this juncture?
I'd be a little bit surprised considering how aggressive Draven can be in lane and how Draven actually tends to beat Ezreal in lane. Because if he does go with the Dorans, again, the concern, like last time, is that Ezreal's going to take a little bit of damage and then not be able to heal back up. Taric has a heal, but it's not really that significant.
No.
And Draven, that's his best opportunity. Draven can just walk up one auto attack with the Q, back off, get a lot of free damage, and all of a sudden, Ezreal loses that lane.
Right.
That being said, I don't expect him to run that Dorans. He might run a longsword and 2 health pots, so that is a possibility, but I really would be surprised to see that Dorans.
Or he can even do something crazy. Could even go like Cloth 5, even. You go straight for Ninja Tabbies, which is something on occasion you will see on the ADs. But Taric, he's not going to have a whole lot of heals on him. If you're playing Taric and you're maxing out the heal first, give it a try. Give maxing out the Shatter a try. Give maxing out that passive armor bonus a try. There's a reason a lot of the pros do that instead.
Yeah, so we're in this game. We'll be able to check out what these guys are doing, and quick start for both teams, and actually heading up the top lane for high rollers. So they're going to be heading in for a red invade potentially, sneaking around into this top bush here. But we'll see how the response goes from Salad Bar. It looks like they might be going down for a blue invade, and just make their way in. They have a really strong level 1. So with the stun, Cassiopeia's damage, Ezreal's damage, they have a really just dominant level 1. But the level 1 is also really strong for high rollers. So it seems like Salad Bar, they might be going for a red invade, or maybe they're just kind of poking around a little bit to try and keep themselves safe. They don't want to fight. Yeah,
I think they're slightly paranoid at about where HRG is at the moment. And this may very well ultimately end up in a mutual red steal, but it looks like Salbar is actually backing off. Where could it be going from here? Ehamda's leading the charge, can throw down that poison in whatever bush to try and get a clue, try and get some vision. And HRG, they're all over on this side.
They know they're going for the red.
They know. There's Ehamda right out in front. Gold card keeps Cassiopeia stunned. That's the first blood. Going to the Draven of all people. That's the worst possible situation, something like this. But another yellow card, keeping the Ezreal behind, uses barrier and flash, does manage to live. But first blood on the Draven, that's never good.
And that was just really unfortunate timing. The ward was there, but it actually wasn't there at the beginning of the fight when they walked in. Janna dropped the ward when they were fighting. And that's really important, to have a mid-fight ward, just so you can keep up vision, keep doing damage. But that meant that Cassiopeia walked blindly into the rest of the team, and they walked blindly into her. They had no idea that she was there. And so that's a really just terrible situation. Really, it was kind of a risk from high rollers, because if they hadn't won that exchange, then they weren't in a situation where they could escape very easily. The rest of Salad Bar, if they had gotten one quick kill, would have been able to chase them down for a kill after another. And already, look at that damage from Cassiopeia onto Naya. Yeah,
it may have been a huge risk, but from a team like High Rollers, I expect no less.
Yeah,
I would love to see them do some more of that risky play. Even look at Draven. He actually started off with a red elixir, and from the first blood gold goes back and buys himself a Doran's. That is so much damage to have level 1, level 2, and some added health on top of that. This bot lane is very primed in position to spiral out of control quickly for HRG if they get the right timings and if they push their advantage enough.
Well, it's really rough because they have to worry. Cassiopeia trying to come over, trying to steal that blue, and Crime Lord just going to time it and be able to pick that up.
Yeah.
It's rough for Ezreal and Taric because they did go with that Doran's opening once again.
Yeah.
We talked about some of the struggles with that, but because they're already so far behind, Ezreal's not going to be able to eat through Janna's shield. It's going to take a Mystic Shot and an attack in order to break the shield. And in that time, Draven's just going to do an absurd amount of damage. And there's just no way that Ezreal and Taric are going to have enough to eat through that red elixir. We do see that Nocturne, he's holding up mid, though. He wants to see if he can get an engage on Cassiopeia. I don't know if they can win this, even if Nocturne comes in here.
Flash is down on Twisted Face, so Flash Gold card is not part of the equation here. And Crime Lord Nocturne, he does realize and decides to back off. Stun from Taric on to the Draven. Ozadin on Janna was away, putting a ward down in the river. did not have the shield ready. But then again, look at the damage. Look at the damage difference.
Scenario. That is a best case scenario for Taric and Ezreal. They get the stun onto Draven. They get some quick damage. And Ezreal, all of a sudden, he's at half. Once again, same thing that happened in the previous match. And that's a real struggle. While Draven's going to be healing up with his potions, Ghost Zero actually coming in, being very aggressive and stealing a little bit from Crime Lord. And it's a really just strong start for this Draven in this bottom lane.
Yep, and also that red elixir is also going to serve the same function, just as if like Janna or someone had summoner heal, because when you use that red elixir, that extra health you gain, you get it instantly. So that could be used to bait out something huge from Salad Bar later on.
Well, and it isn't affected by Ignite, which could be effective later on. It's not an issue, right now because no one has Ignite that's going to be affecting Draven, Elise, and Cassiopeia. I doubt they're going to be heading down bot very shortly, though Cassiopeia could. So we'll kind of see what goes along there. Checking out the top lane now, it's been mostly passive so far, and both of them starting off with a number of health pots and actually a regen bead on both of them. So that's kind of interesting. It gives them a lot of regeneration, but it also might signal that they're both looking for a really fast Warmogs. And that's not that surprising on either of these champions. Elise has such high base damage already that she just can get tanky really quickly and already being a kind of dominant figure.
Yeah. Well, rushing Warmogs first right now in the current meta, I mean, it's something that you begrudgingly get. It's huge shocker. I mean, I know you're all surprised, but I mean, it's something you just get used to now after seeing so much now. But there's a reason, because Warmogs is really effing good right now.
Yeah, no, it's a really strong item, and the big reason is it gives you a lot of quick HP and whatnot, but AD items being nerfed and a lot of the damage being nerfed, it means that you don't have the damage to take down a Warmogs person. Xin jumping in on Naya, gets some quick damage, backs off, doesn't want to take those turret shots, doesn't want to take a stun to the face right underneath that turret, but once again, there's not enough damage to take down a champion that has Warmogs at this point in the game, or at the point that you get Warmogs. You can usually get it around the 15-minute mark, and by then an AD carry maybe has a BF sword, and that's nowhere near enough.
Yep, and when both of these champs in top lane here get those Warmogs, it's going to be a strange thing, because remember, Elise does damage based on percentages, and Shen also scales a lot off health. And Shen, he's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage to Elise, so that standoff is going to continue for quite a deal until there's hopefully some jungler intervention, which Nocturne may actually be providing here. He's coming on, meandering up to the top lane. He is a level 4. If he, well, even if he does manage to get the fear, Elise can just pop up in the air and at the very least break that. But we'll see if she manages to stay away longer, forcing out the flash. Where's the fear? There it is, but the tethers do break, and Elise will be fine. But that is a flash blow, and that is a successful gank.
Yeah, so really quickly able to force them back, but it's kind of difficult for Nocturne to get off those early ganks. Ezreal, there's the stun, and actually going on to Draven, trying to get some quick damage, but this is actually turning around against them really badly with that Shen ult.
There is the Shen ult to help finish the job. One more auto attack on the Ezreal, and that will be more than enough for Draven to get that kill. Still only level 4, one turret shot from Janna, but that is what they wanted. HRG baiting out the duel. And by the way, we have a Shen. He's going to give me a shield, and you are screwed.
Yeah, and that's just really unfortunate timing. And Salad Bar, their bot lane struggling in both of these matches that we've seen, against Pulse and also against High Rollers now. So that's kind of a rough situation for them to be in. Ezreal going with a double Doran's into a longsword. So that's really, those are dueling items. Those are lane items. They're not very strong, as the game progresses, because you're not getting into your quick build. But it's all about just forcing fights early on in the lane and trying to win those situations. But they're already way behind at 2-0 against Draven.
And this is Draven you're talking about here. He's on the highest damaging ADs in the game. Twisted Fate with the ultimate. Can he escape? No! The pop-up from Xin interrupts the ultimate with the eyeball still upon Salad Bar's heads. The poison and the pop-up more than enough to be taken out in mid. And looks like Salad Bar will continue to push, try and get some damage onto that tier 1 in mid.
Yeah, I'm surprised that TF even thought that was going to work. It almost did, actually. I was kind of surprised how close he got.
His
but
flash is down.
Pop-up was a bit much. Yeah, but I still think he could have maybe thrown a stun card and tried to walk away. Yeah. But it was a bit much. He does go down pretty quickly.
Oh, Crime Lord
might go down as well. There's the quick poison damage. Oh, he is going to drop to the poison. A couple more ticks. No!
Man, dude, that was now you gotta think Salad Bar is just hoping that Ezreal was just level 6 at this point. He's only level 5. He cannot throw a blind True Shot Barrage. Even if he did, it's too late now. They would not have had the vision. How unfortunate for Ezreal to not be properly leveled at this point.
Yeah, so they will back off. We'll kind of see what happens. But the Nocturne flash is down, so that does hurt him a little bit.
Right.
And Nocturne, still hasn't hit 6, so he hasn't been able to be quite as aggressive as he would like. But the saving grace for high rollers right now is this bot lane. Shen is doing very well up top as well, and getting Shen to be really tanky early on, it prevents a lot of that burst damage that Elise has and allows him to just square off, head-to-head against Elise. And he's actually winning that exchange. But that's going to be a big concern. When the bot lane and the top lane are winning for high rollers, it means that TF and Nocturne are free to roam. And they're going to be free to do whatever they want just because they can force the lanes to split still. Having such an early advantage, it means that Salad Bar, they can't really group early on.
Yep. So we saw the situation that the bot lane was in for Salad Bar, but now for 2 games here. Are they in which situation is worse, going up against this Draven Janna or last game going up against the Graves Thresh?
Well, Draven Janna, no question. The Thresh has a little bit more killing potential just because of his CC, but Draven can just completely zone them here with his harass and the free damage with Janna. And you see Nocturne hanging out. They want to get a kill. They want to try and bait in Taric because they've been so aggressive so far. And they want to just hope that they go aggressive again. Maybe Xin comes down or something like that, and then Nocturne turns it around. But you see, they've learned their lesson. They're sitting back. They're playing extremely passively because they recognize they've already given up 2 kills in that bottom lane, and if they give up any more, this game could just be over.
And Shen's ult just came up. Twisted Fate's ult just came up. It is very possible that we can have a 5-man push here down to bot lane at any possible instant. They could even, if they get that much of an advantage, can even push down and take a tier 2 on 1 push.
And it's really cool having such a dominant lane with Draven and Janna. They just have so much damage, and then having the rest of the team to follow up. Look at how they had no damage at all there. The Janna shield, and they're barely able to scratch Draven, so they're just destroying that bot lane.
This is just, it's kind of unfair even, just to have that big of a Draven this early on in the game, the 10-minute mark. And he's doing so well for himself. My God. Meanwhile, in the other lanes, Twisted Fate, he's still doing okay. Farm is actually pretty even between the mids. A lot of Doran's rings in the mix also between those 2 mids. As terms of how many Warmogs are currently in progress, Shen's almost there. That is Nayado coming in from behind. There's a Shen up to follow up with it. Can you get the Ezreal? No, Shen ult not going to be finishing. It was canceled. But that is Ihamda in mid, realizing that the rest of the team is displaced, decides to take the mid tier 1, and then finally getting the kill onto the Ezreal and to the Taric. That is bot lane wiped up over on the side of Salad Bar, and HRG can go take the tier 1, and if they want, they can continue for the push on the tier 2 also. But look, you do still have a Xin and Cassiopeia to deal with here in the mid.
Yeah, so that's really dangerous. They're taking a lot of damage in this mid turret. They're not going to be able to respond very quickly. Ihamda and Ghost Zero, they're going to drop this pretty quickly. It's going to go down to about half before they have to stop. TF should be here shortly. Crime Lord trying to stall what he can, but it does help snowball their bot even more.
Right.
The concern is what happens when they start to group up, because Cassiopeia, right in the face of Draven, is going to be a serious threat. Elise, if she stuns someone off, that can control the front line. And Draven in teamfights can struggle a lot. It's just very difficult to get off the damage that you expect from your AD carry late game when you know that he doesn't have any escape abilities. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see. I think as a result, they're not going to want to force fights. They're going to continue to hold their bot lane and be extremely aggressive and just push for that second turret.
Keep in mind,
TF is caught. He's caught so hard. Elise is going to be able to catch him here.
There is the web, keeping TF still so much damage in Cassiopeia. That is why she is such a huge danger in the mid lane. All that damage potential, if given the opportunity, there's a lot of poison, and those Twin Fangs melt. Twisted Fate right off the map on that engage. Good job pinching in TF from Salad Bar. And they're going to get some whatever they can here. Shen, meanwhile, in top lane is ignited. Ihamdo got the first kill, wants more, and does pick it up. Shen underneath his own turret at that.
Yes, I'm a little bit surprised that he hung out and they were able to pick him up there, but they do hold off the bot. It's taking a lot of damage. Top as well is probably going to go down to Cassiopeia here, or actually just backing off. So actually they're fine with splitting the lanes. I'm surprised they didn't decide to take that turret and allow themselves to get out of there, but playing conservatively, and they've actually been able to catch up quite a bit. So 1K gold, built in or eaten into that deficit. They're only down 1K now. So we'll kind of see how that continues to progress. Naya not successful so far. Hasn't really been able to get much off from TF. Was able to get that one gank down bottom. That helped. But otherwise, kind of being abused by Cassiopeia. And that was the main goal with this Cassiopeia, is just how much damage she has, just to be able to instantly kill TF and control the entire middle portion of the map.
And basically the difference between TF and Cassiopeia right now can be told in the items. TF, you see the tome. Cassiopeia, you see the needlessly large rod. And that's pretty much the difference between both of these AP carries here. Cassiopeia right now at this point in the game has quite a bit more damage. TF, he needs to itemize. He needs to get into those big name items. He needs to get things like the Lich Bane and the Death Cap in order to be a huge part of these fights. But for right now, though, those globals are not doing a whole lot when you have all 5 of the enemy team grabbing the dragon, and indeed they do. So HRG making the best of the situation, looking for some damage on the mid-tier 1, throwing down to Janna ult. Draven's way too far out in the back line. Does get caught out by Zip, but there's a web, keeping Janna still. Draven ult thrown down, but the damage is not enough. Naya and Crime Lord, not only now using those ultimates, it's a bit too late. Shutdown. Nocturne does get Cassiopeia, but look at the position HRG is in right now. That was a 1 for 3 in favor of Salad Bar.
Well, and they have to watch out that this game doesn't turn around against them really quickly, and that's what we were talking about. Draven, his weakness in team fights, because it doesn't matter that Draven was 3-0 and just a dominant force in that bottom lane, because the second that team fight happened, he got off like 3 attacks maybe. So, you know, maybe 3 attacks, he used his ultimate as well, and that's it. And that's not what you need out of your AD carry. And so just the sheer power of Cassiopeia early on in the mid game just allowed them to completely dominate that fight, and any fight for the next couple of minutes is easily going to be in their favor. So right now, HRG has to figure out a way to slow down the game, split the lanes, and allow themselves to use their strength in the laning phase and in you know, that roaming potential, and not allow Salad Bar to get off these quick kills.
Right. So utilizing all these ultimates in the best possible way, try and combo them, try and pick people off to regain some of that goal lead you have now just so suddenly lost after those two, the +2 kills and the dragon that's essentially a 4-kill gold swing into the favor of Salad Bar 2K swing, to be precise. And you see that they are now the ones with the 1K lead. TF still has his ultimate up. If he can use it for the vision, try and catch someone out, that would be nice, possibly in Ezreal. But it's going to be difficult too, because you know, once people start leaving those lanes, and that is the big disadvantage for having a global ult. Once you leave your lane, like Shen, like TF, the best response is just, you know, your opponent just stays in lane and continues to push and grab towers and grab objectives.
Oh, we'll see what's going on. Crime Lord heading up towards the top, not quite able to get that engage onto Elise. Trying to see if they can make something happen here, but Harishan's pretty safe from this top lane. He's been able to perform pretty effectively, going with that quick spell vamp, which is pretty common. Cassiopeia, though, coming in behind TF. Hamda going for the kill. He has the ward here. TF still has no vision, and he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Is trapping him right behind Cassiopeia.
Deja vu from mid earlier. It does have the flash. He's got the flash this time. Now it uses that gold card, but the ultimate from Cassiopeia didn't even need to get the stun. The slow was enough to finish the kill, and Cass finishes the job with the poison.
Yeah, and it's brutal to lose a flash when you just had no chance of escape.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is really rough right now. And now you see this bot lane, despite being so strong for HRG, it's almost meaningless because Ezreal is able to just farm pretty passively. They're not able to force any exchanges, and this mid lane, sorry, is in complete control by Salad Bar. They're now pushing in on the mid, and no one's there to defend it. Bot lane's not recalling. All it is Crime Lord. He will get some poison damage, which is going to allow that turret to attack Cassiopeia a little bit. But look at this turnaround. Ezreal and Taric shut down on Draven. Some quick damage, and all of a sudden, Salad Bar is just in a dominant position in this game.
Yeah. I'm sure the Jester is just thinking to himself, win lane, lose game. Because that's, you know, sometimes the mantra you'll see in ranked. But that is pretty much the story here. The rest of the game just about too far control. Hamda, can you find? No. Good notion on Janna. Sometimes. That's usually a great spot to hide when you're trying to recall. But when the enemy team knows you're there and they're so engrossed in your jungle, when they're that far in, it's not always the best course of action.
Yeah, they still have, HRG still has the advantage of Shen. I mean, he's still able to control that top lane, but, you know, it's not enough. He's not able to put any pressure because even though he's beating Elise can just AoE clear and, you know, be fine. And the rest of the map is now in a dominant position for Salad Bar. Some quick damage, though, from high rollers. And actually, Crime Lord's going to go in with Shen.
Oh, and that is a flash just to try and keep up pace, but Shen once again cancels the ult. That is a TF ulting into a Cassiopeia ult. Wonderful timing on Hamda there, and now the fight turns once again in favor for Salabar. Plenty of poison and the Ignite. Also going down, Janna using the ultimate just to heal, but is not enough to save the Nocturne. Twin Fang, shield. Again, Janna cannot save the day here. More Fangs from Cassiopeia, getting a triple kill for her credit.
What
and
a
Shen,
miscommunication.
Yeah, Shen still top lane. Can't ultimate was not followed through.
That doesn't even make any sense. Why? Like, that is just such a terrible miscommunication on High Roller's part for Shen to cancel his ultimate. Elise wasn't there, so Elise didn't stun him or anything. He just canceled it. And for his team to be in that situation, diving as hard as they are with the expectation that Shen is going to ult in, that was brutal. That resulted in that triple kill. It resulted in those turrets, and now they have an exposed inhibitor as a result. And what does Shen have to show for it? Well, he has the one turret.
He got the tier 1, yeah.
You know, he's going to do some damage to the next one. He's backing off of Taric, so you know, nothing. And that's really rough. And Salad Bar is just really running home with this advantage.
Yeah, and when you get to this point in the game, you need to start valuing objectives. And if you're going to be, at the very least, you know, trading a turret for a turret, try and get something, you know, more equivalent value. Like any tier 1 turret is roughly, you know, in terms of positioning and goal, about the same as a dragon. Once you start getting into tier 2, tier 3 turrets, then things start getting complicated. And ooh, wow, that was fast. That was a fast kill.
Yeah, they have a lot of burst damage. That's one of the strengths of Elise, is she can just get that range stun. Elise trying to get in, can't quite grab it, and now Crime Lord being chased down from Ghost Zero and E Hamda. The ultimate comes off from Cassiopeia. The first kill. iJesus is going down as well. Will back off, but just too much damage. Cassiopeia is just a dominant force right now, and that's going to result in this inhibitor. There's a DC. That might be the game. The surrender goes off, and HRG goes down.
Wow, 20-minute surrender on the side of HRG, and things were promising. Things were looking so promising for HRG. That bot lane, I can't think of any bigger advantage you could give to a Draven in the first few precious minutes of the game, but everything else just fell apart. Win lane, lose game.
Yeah, no, it was a really quick turnaround and really impressive play from Salad Bar to get that going.
Very good.
Despite losing their bot lane. But that's a serious issue for them. They lost their bot lane both matches. And a large part of it has to do with that Doran. So it's that really aggressive play. And the second they take any damage on Ezreal, they're just out of that lane. And that's really rough to be putting yourself at such a disadvantage. But we'll see what Salad Bar can do. They are going to make it into the winners finals, which will be up shortly. And that's going to be the finals of the group. So the winner of that game and the winner of the loser of the other game will actually be making it into that upper bracket. So we'll have to check back at that. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. James Rauman, AJ Mazur. This is the CLG Premier Series.
We'll see you for Group B.